Tom Wiley here at the Davenport Grand Hotel in downtown Spokane for the Big Sky Football Kickoff. We've had one heck of a weekend already, the Hall of Fame banquet on Saturday. 14 deserving members going into the inaugural Big Sky Conference Hall of Fame. We had a kids clinic. We've had all sorts of sessions, but today is the meat and potatoes of this weekend. We're talking about Media Day at the Big Sky Conference Kickoff. We take a look over here. We have every single team represented from the Big Sky Conference, from northern Arizona all the way over to Idaho State on the other side. All 12 teams, coaches and players are represented. And, of course, EW Scripps right in the middle of things. We got a partnership with the Big Sky Conference. So we're going to do a live show over the next couple hours, talk to some figures, coaches, administrators, players, and all of that. So we're going to move over here. If you take a look, this is our stage setup, kind of right in the middle of everything here. And if you don't recognize that man on the stage, that is Big Sky Commissioner Tom Wistersill. Tom W., both of us, actually, if you can believe it. So we can't even differentiate between us. Tom, thanks for joining us so
Great
much.
to be here on the Tom and Tom Show.
The Tom and Tom Show. We'll start with the Tom and Tom Show.
Let's make it happen.
All right, Tom, just this weekend in general. I know it's a special one for you guys, but, especially the Hall of Fame ceremony. 2 years in the making, a huge class. Just talk about how special that moment was to induct those 14 members into the inaugural Hall of Fame class.
It was so exciting. You could feel the emotion and excitement, the people that were there. We have tremendous history in the Big Sky. I mean, since 1964. I was amazed when we formed the committee. They started narrowing down the names, and John Casper brought me in about 30 names. He's like, "What do you think? How are we going to narrow it down?" I just said, "Good luck. I don't know how you're going to split hairs to get to this final group." But it was a wonderful night, a wonderful celebration. So many different sports representative, so many schools represented. It was just a really cool thing to be a part of, and to hear those stories, to see those people connecting that hadn't been around. Some of them hadn't been around the Big Sky in years. We had a bunch of old coaches and older administrators there too, and it was just one of those nights. I think I'll always remember that first night of the Hall of Fame.
I see. Tom, I know you gave a longer version of the State of the Conference address this morning to some of the assembled coaches, media, players. Could you give us a distillation of that? I mean, what is the health of the Big Sky Conference?
The Big Sky is doing great. We're very fortunate. I love our membership right now. 10 full-time members, 2 affiliates in football. It's perfect for what we want to represent out here out west. We've got great growth opportunity in our media rights. Obviously, ESPN Plus has been a great partner. Scripps joining is a huge thing for us and what we're trying to do to move forward. So I'm really excited about where we're at as a league. We got great leadership. Our presidents are wonderful people that care about the right things. It's about education. It's about graduating student athletes. It's about playing high-level athletics, winning national championships, trying to keep things in the right perspective. Other parts of college athletics, I think, have lost some perspective, but we haven't. And so that's the state of the conference right now. Really excited about this fall and getting going. It's going to be a great year.
There is so much volatility in college athletics right now as teams, conferences chase the almighty dollar. But like you said, I mean, how secure should teams in the Frontier Conference feel, and how secure should you guys feel with the level of opportunity and play that's going on here?
Yeah, for us, it's about, obviously there's things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control what happens above us. And if the Power 5 and Group of 5 is going to move around, and who knows what's going to happen with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West right now, we can control what we can control, and that's to provide a great opportunity for our student athletes and our coaches to grow and be a part of what we're doing. We're hopeful our membership stays solid. Nothing's ever guaranteed in life, but I know that our schools appreciate this level of competition. And again, it's about perspective and investment and what comes out of that, expectation. So we feel good about where we're at, and we'll wait and see what happens.
I see. There's a lot of front-facing parts to this Big Sky football weekend. The Hall of Fame, the media day, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes as well. I'm going to talk with Dan Satter a little bit about a Big Sky U later, but just tell me about some of the things that go on that maybe the media, the folks who are here don't see, that are very important to the health of the conference.
Yeah, I'm glad you're going to talk to Dan about Big Sky U, because that's been a big initiative for what we're doing. We also have other programming for our student athletes while they're here as well. We do media training with them. We do some educational components, mental health discussion. We also had those assistant coaches that were here here with our head coaches in the meeting. We're talking about scheduling. We're talking about officiating. We're talking about important things to the game of Big Sky football. And so, there's a lot of different parts of this that we try to, while we're here, try to capture. And we're fortunate we got a great group of coaches that are really good people, and our student athletes have been wonderful. It's always fun to be around them, and they're so excited. Everybody's undefeated right now, so everybody's having a great time. So there's a lot that happens here that people don't see in the 3 days.
Yeah, I think the tenor of a lot of these interviews going on behind me is optimistic.
Optimism, hope, fun. Everybody's smiling. So yeah, it's a good day right now.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us, Tom. Thank you so much. We're going to go to break real quick, but before we do, let's take a look at some of the remarks that a few Big Sky Conference football legends gave at the Hall of Fame.
When I was offered a ski scholarship to Montana State, I couldn't really find Bozeman. Livingston, of all places, was on the map. I couldn't find it in Norway. But no, it's amazing. Montana State gave me an opportunity. My plan was to come and ski and enjoy ski jumping, get an education, and go back to Norway and live there for the rest of my life. But when Jim Sweeney gave me the chance to go out for the football team and gave me all the confidence and and also the teammates that I was not a football player. I never was a football player. Yeah. And Sweeney, as a matter of fact, didn't know what to do with me in practice. Everybody he's coached his whole life had played football. But of all the guys, the veterans, all the team that made me feel welcome, of course, Dennis Erickson was the quarterback and held the football for me. It was just a fantastic experience. And no, when I came here 60 years ago, did I think I was going to sit here today and see the bio up there and be inducted with all these wonderful people? No, that wasn't in the script. No.
I never had success on my athletic skill, whatever John Casper tells you. I was a terrible athlete, but I could think the game. I think I can communicate. I think I'm fairly tough, and I think those are things you need as a coach and a player.
And then what about the trait that made you most successful as a player?
I think John Free said it best. You got to have good players around you. The quarterback distributes. The quarterback gets the ball to the people that are better athletes than them and lets them do the things special for you. I mean, you throw the screen for no yards, but the guy goes 80, you got an 80-yard touchdown. I think it's mainly the quarterback is the guy that is kind of that communicator, leadership, distributor, does the things behind the scenes that can help other players, but really the other guys kind of set us up. Nobody's going to compare me to Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick or anything like that, but I felt like I was able to do things I was asked to do by my head coach, Don Reed, and we won it. 95 was a special year.
Welcome back to the Big Sky Conference Kickoff. I'm joined here by the head coach of the University of Montana football team, Mr. Bobby Houck. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be on with you, Tom.
All right, Bobby, the first question I'm going to ask, I probably know you're going to answer it already, but picked number one in the media poll and the coaches poll. Do you put any stock into that?
Well, I think we have a good team, and I like the fact that others think that way too. But, for us, the goal is always the same. We have high expectations. And we got to go compete this fall, but I think we have a chance to have a good team.
I see. And 4 years into this second stint with the Grizzlies, how do you feel that the program has grown and developed over the years?
Well, the preseason polls maybe would say that we're kind of back where we feel like we should be. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of hard work. I think our players have worked really hard. Our assistant coaches have done a great job working things through, and it's nice to set yourself up to have a chance, which I think we do this fall.
I see. As far as individual player accolades, I know they announced the preseasoned offensive and defensive players of the year as well. Patrick O'Connell, Buck Buchanan finalist last year. He's got a heck of a story. What was he, Division III football and baseball player? Yeah, and then comes over here. What makes him so good? What makes him such a good guy to have on the team? Well,
he's a good dude, first of all. He's a hard worker. So that's a good place to start. And then he's got good ability. He can run, and he's strong, and just got great instincts. So I think we have a lot of guys on the first team all-conference preseason team, which is recognition for past play for the most part. But I think that to a man, the guys on our team, they don't really care too much about all that. They want to win, and the competitiveness on our team is at a high level, and I think that's going to pay dividends for us.
I know RTD's kind of been the motto for this team since you came back here. I mean, is there ever an end point to that, or is it constantly evolving to return to dominance?
Well, then you got to keep doing it,
Uh-huh.
and so I think we're there. I mean, I think that's kind of been accomplished for the most part, and now we're back to let's go play. Can't get here soon enough.
Now, how about the other two guys you brought here to Spokane? Justin Ford, Mitch Roberts. What makes them good ambassadors for the program?
Well, we have a lot of great guys on our team. You've been around some of them, and we have really fine young men on our team, and those two fellows are great guys. They're a good example of excuse me, the people we have in our locker room. Great guys and well spoken, and they have a good view of things, and it was fun having them here and giving them a look into all this that you and I do every year.
Absolutely. I was going at the kids clinic 2 days ago. I know you weren't in town yet, but Mitch was showing off his quarterback skills. I know he's a receiver, but he was a quarterback at Missoula Sentinel.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback in high school. I think he throws it a little better than Justin.
Slightly.
Good, yeah.
Slightly. Last question. I mean, in your second stint here, it does seem like the conference is a lot deeper than it was, back when you were in the Grizzlies, however many years ago it was. I mean, what is the difference between the Big Sky Conference now and the Big Sky Conference back when you were first at Montana?
Well, there's more teams, so everybody doesn't play everybody. But I think the league's good. But you were here on Saturday night, and you saw some of the coaches like Keith Gilbertson and Dennis Erickson, and I mean, some of the great coaches in all of college football have coached in this conference. It's always been good. There's been good players. There's been good coaches in this league for as long as I can remember, and even before that. And now is no exception. There's good football in the Big Sky Conference, and I think it'll, just like always, it'll be a challenge this year to try to win it.
All right, Bobby, thank you so much for
Good
joining
to
us,
be on.
Coach Hauk. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We're going to go to break. We'll be right back with more from the Big Sky Conference Football Media Day here at the Kickoff in Spokane, Washington. Tom Wiley back here in Spokane, Washington for the Big Sky Football Kickoff. I'm joined by the Deputy Commissioner of the Big Sky Conference, Mr. Dan Sander. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Tom, thanks for having me, and we're so glad you guys are all here.
Well, appreciate it. We'll start with that, actually. The Scripps partnership. I know we're thrilled about it on our end. We get to broadcast the number of Big Sky Conference football games. Tell me how it happened on your guys' end and how excited you are for the partnership.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect complement to our media strategy. As our fans know, last year we started with ESPN and having our games all streamed on ESPN+, but we were really looking to supplement that with an opportunity within our footprint, which is pretty expansive across the West here in 8 different states, where we could have a partner that, from a linear standpoint, we could add a number of games for our fans to see from that perspective. So, Scripps, with the amount of stations it has and the relationships it has across Montana and across all 12 Big Sky football markets, just made a lot of sense as we looked at things and started talking with John Saunders and a number of others there with Scripps.
I know you're the point person for football scheduling as well. I mean, I'm just looking at the schedule of this event. We have, interviews back there, and I get a headache. I mean, tell me about what goes into scheduling a Big Sky Conference football season. You're kind of the point person for that, if I'm not mistaken.
I get that pleasure, and get a little. Got to make sure I blink a few times looking at the spreadsheets as we run that process. I mean, it's obviously a team process with a lot of input from our schools. There are a number of things that went into it, and last year we released 6 years worth of schedules that start with this 22 season. So we did 22 through 27. But a lot of what you're hearing, if you follow college football nationally, what some of the Power 5 conferences are doing, we were doing a year ago in terms of looking at how can we make sure we have an even rotation so that all of our schools are playing home and away against everybody in the conference as quickly as possible, while at the same time maintaining as many of those rivalries as we can. So what we ended up settling on is that each school has 2 annual opponents, and then there's a rotation that evenly works its way through, so that over the course of 3 years, every school will have a home game and an away game against every other school. And what we love to say for that is that what that means is that somebody who starts their football career in the Big Sky, by the time they've graduated, they'll have played in every stadium in our conference.
There's some pretty incredible facilities out there as well.
Yeah, and it's just a neat thing for fans, too, to know that, okay, we get the chance to travel here, or we're going to get to see this team come into our market and play in our stadium. I think that's important for fans, especially as we continue to try to grow our league, and with 12 programs now, the ability to be able to do that in an even manner, I think, will work out really nicely here as we move forward.
Dan, and one thing I've been impressed about when we were kind of planning for the Scripps President's event, you were telling us about Big Sky U, and it just sounds like a really, really cool program in the Big Sky Conference to mentor, administrators, coaches, things of that nature. Tell me about the Big Sky U program, how it started, and what's happening here at the Big Sky Kickoff behind the scenes.
So 2 years ago, when we were in the thrust of the pandemic starting and we knew we weren't going to be playing games in the fall, we really wanted to do something for our membership and those we serve. In the conference office, that's really our responsibility. Our student athletes, number one, first and foremost, but also our coaches and our administrators. And with no games, right, there was just this void of what people in college athletics do. So we looked at it as a professional development opportunity virtually, of course, then, to create this program that we call Big Sky U. And so we had 3 different tracks. We had one for student athletes who aspire to be coaches or administrators, right? They want to work in college athletics one day. We have one for assistant coaches, and this is across all sports at all of our schools, assistant coaches who aspire to become head coaches someday in their respective sport, and then one for administrators at all of our schools who aspire to become athletic directors. So we did virtual programming with them for 2 years. We had 2 different sessions, of course, right, with different classes, if you will, that they had to apply or be nominated by their schools. But then, as we got to this point and wanted to keep things fresh, we realized, I think it's time, let's try this in person. We've gotten to that point where we felt comfortable with it. So each of our football programs invited one of their assistant coaches to be here this weekend at our Big Sky Kickoff for our pilot in-person programming. And, another twist of this program that we're really excited about is not just the component of helping them advance their career, but also thinking about this really globally from a diversity and equity perspective, and knowing that there's a number of underrepresented populations, especially relative to when you look at the student-athlete population. So that was something that was a part of this Big Sky initiative here this weekend, where each of our football programs sent a black or other underrepresented group assistant coach here. They went through a full day yesterday of programming, everything from how you interview for a job to they sat in on our head football coaches meeting. They did mock interviews with our athletic directors. They did a session with our coordinator of football officials to talk about how a head coach interfaces with officiating in the game, after a game, out of season. Just try to really expose them to so many of the other elements besides the X's and O's that go into being a head coach. They did some roundtables with our current head coaches, including our 2 new head coaches who really could speak from, I was just in your seat, less than a year ago, and here I am getting ready to coach my first season. Here's everything I've learned that even though I had been preparing for this opportunity, until you're exposed to it, you don't know fully and understand it until you live it. So it was just a really great chance, I think, for us to have them here in person, do some development before the season, before their camps open, but hopefully help prepare them for that next step in their career as they all aspire to become head coaches.
Incredible stuff. Dan, thank you so much for joining us here. This is Dan Satter, Deputy Commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. We'll be right back with more from the Big Sky Media Kickoff Day. Welcome back to the Big Sky Kickoff here in Spokane, Washington, at the Davenport Grand Hotel. Joined now by Brent Vegan, head coach of the Montana State football team in his 2nd season. And boy, your first season was a doozy. I know a trip to the national championship game, a deep run in the playoffs, all kinds of storylines. Have you had a chance to breathe? I know you got the job, what was it, last December it was?
Last February.
February. Jumped right into recruiting, jumped right into spring, jumped right into the season. You had an off season. Have you caught your breath?
Oh, a little bit. I think you get back to where this is more of a regular cycle, and I think as coaches, that's part of what we enjoy. Every year, once you establish yourself, I guess, within a program, over the course of summer, you have a chance to decompress a little bit, but it's always on your mind. And this part of the summer becomes this, super exciting time because fall camp's right around the corner, and it's the beginning of obviously what you do all the hard work for as we get into September and get into the season.
I see. Preseason polls came out. I think they had you number 2 in coaches, number 3 in coaches, number 2 in the media. Do you put any stock into that stuff?
Not really. No, I think every team is new this year. I think the coaches' polls are reflective of this guess between what you were last year and what you're trying to become. The media is certainly the same, and I know we're at or near the top, and those points are real close, but. All that matters is how those standings sort out through the course of the fall.
I see. You brought Tommy Millott here, a sophomore quarterback from Butte, Montana. He was kind of thrust into the spotlight last year, was a backup, then had a magical run in the postseason. But it just seems like his head's just on his shoulders correctly. How has he handled that spotlight?
I think he's handled it remarkably well, and what you see with Tommy is what you get. He is pure a competitor. A leader, his willingness to give back to Bozeman, to Butte, to the state of Montana, to young kids in all those areas is real. I think every time he gets a chance to touch someone, I think he recognizes there might be a young Tommy Millott out in that crowd. And that's all part of what we hope our leaders and our most recognizable players are. And I know as a competitor. I think he certainly flashed in December, taking us to the national championship game. But I think he recognized there's things that he needed to improve upon, and he's worked tremendously hard, not only coming back from that injury, but then going through spring and summer to become a better quarterback as we hit the field in September.
I see. Isaiah Fonse, another preseason all-conference selection, had a heck of a year last year. I mean, broke the Bobcat record for rushing yards, but he put on a lot of miles. I know it took its toll as well. How is his recovery going, and do you take a different approach with it all this year?
Well, he is on the back half of his recovery, so we're still kind of in a month-to-month mode with him. His postseason surgery became a much later surgery than it would have had we not had the run, so you take the good with the bad. We've had to, beef up that position group for sure. We brought in Kagan Williams. We returned Lane Sumner, Elijah Elliott. We have an incoming freshman, Jared Scott, coming in. Jared White, excuse me. But Isaiah will be back for us at some point, but we hope we're not as dependent on one guy as we were last year. I think that's probably the biggest thing coming out of that. Isaiah answered the bell continually through the course of last year, and ideally our carries would look a little bit more spread out. So we'll see how that'll play out as we lead into these next months.
Gotcha. And lastly, could you just give us a brief overview of the Bobcats as we approach fall camp here? What are some of the question marks you'd like to see answered before you guys hit the field?
Well, I think it starts with the line of scrimmage. We lost 4 starters in the offensive line, 3 on the defensive line. We played a lot of guys in addition to those starters. So seeing the new guys emerge, because for us, how we play up front on both sides of the ball is where it starts. Our ability to move people on offense is critical. Our ability to get after the quarterback and hold the point is big on defense. And we have a lot of guys that are competing for those spots. And that's the enjoyable thing about on August. There's some questions that need to be answered, but I do think we have guys that are hungry for those opportunities and look forward to seeing it play out.
All right. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
For sure.
I appreciate it. Good luck this season. And we'll have much more from Big Sky Conference Kickoff Media Day in Spokane after the break. Welcome back to Spokane, Washington for the Big Sky Conference football kickoff here. I'm joined by my boss's 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 boss. This is Brian Lawler, head of the local media division for the Scripps Networks. And Brian, We were talking a little earlier. This is a huge deal to partner with the Big Sky Conference. It's something that Scripps hasn't done before. Tell me about how it came to fruition and how thrilled we are to be a part of this partnership.
Well, I'll start with we're thrilled. We're really excited. I mean, the importance of Big Sky on the national scale, but especially in some of the markets, that we do business. And this came around because over the last couple of years, our company's been pretty active in acquisitions. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to cobbled together a footprint now with 61 TV stations around the country, but a big footprint out here. And so oftentimes you don't have the stations in the right market that might complement a conference. In this case, we've got 5 markets in Montana, we're in Arizona, we're in California, 2 markets in Idaho. And so suddenly Scripps looks a lot like the Big Sky Conference. And so with that, our stations in Montana have had previous relationships with some of the teams in the conference. And so we had an opportunity to sit down and begin a conversation, and we realized that what they're looking to accomplish, what we as a company believe in, and building community, creating excitement. Sports is a big part of that. It really kind of came together pretty easily.
A lot of these small schools have rabid fan bases.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know when you acquired the Montana stations if you really understood how much Montana follows the Montana State Bobcats or the Montana Grizzlies. Have you started to learn that? What have you learned this weekend here in Big Sky?
Well, I can tell you, I learned it last year because I went to the Montana State game in Missoula, and that was quite a game. I learned that, in a state like Montana where there's not pro sports, that was by far the biggest event of the year. Mm-hmm. And so to be there, to feel the energy. I also realized, man, those fans don't like each other. I couldn't believe how much there's pretty good digging and a lot of animosity and a great competitive spirit. So being there, being in that stadium, a hell of a football game, it was a lot of fun.
What can folks expect when they turn on a Scripps broadcast this fall to watch the Montana State Bobcats, Montana Grizzlies, or any of these Big Sky football teams?
Yeah, look, I think what you're going to see is 2 things. Number one, obviously, we're going to be able to broadcast some of the biggest games of the Big Sky Conference, and so we look forward to engaging with local fans, showing them the support, getting them excited about their schools and their communities. But I think beyond that, events like this, telling stories, introducing these student athletes, talking about what great kids they are and how they're giving back and what they've overcome to get there. And, that I think is as important to just showing the games, to really showcasing, these great student athletes and what they stand for and how they contribute to their communities. I think those stories are probably what really got us excited.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you so much for joining us here.
Pleasure, Brian.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back with more from Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day here in Spokane, Washington. Welcome back to the Big Sky Kickoff Football Media Days. Now, we've talked to some coaches, we've talked to some administrators, and we also talked about some of the events that are happening this weekend. Of course, we had the Hall of Fame on Saturday night, Media Day today, but Saturday afternoon, all the student athletes here involved in the Big Sky Football Kickoff went to North Central High School in Spokane, Washington, and mentored about 100 local kids in the pigskin arts. Let's take a look at that event from.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I need one line right here. Break. There you go, there you go. What is it, what is it? Yes, sir, Break. There you go, there you go. I need it. Yes, sir. Go. Stay back. Break. Here you go. Got a wrap right there. Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1. Big Sky.
108. So you took it from the very back of the end zone, all the way on this field? Oh, so this is your home section right here. They don't want us to be great. That's yeah, how old are you? You're 10? You've been playing football half your life. See if we can get it in the air. You put the hands behind your back. Let me see the gloves. Those are fire, bro. Easy. My 40? Come on, man, you know I'm 4'3". What's your 40 looking like? 4'8". Here we go. Oh, wait. The superstar, you're gonna be a superstar. You gotta be able to be in front of the camera at all times and perform. It looked like when the camera was right there, look, you get another chance. There we go.
Receiver group. We're just gonna start off single file line. We're gonna go over the route tree. Ready, go. Oh, good grab. Gosh, you're tall. How tall are you? Whew. Oh, man. His hands are bigger than mine. And you're just gonna break in and keep running flat, okay? And go throw it up to you. Go get it. Nice. All right, who wants to play defense? Me. Ready, go. And it on a good one. Oh, good breakout. All right, break it down. Big Sky on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Big Sky.
Nice work, guys.
Yeah, so as you can see, this weekend a lot more about just the X's and O's of football, breaking down the media, coaches, polls, things of that nature. When we come back after the break, we're going to have a wider look at the Big Sky Conference and the FCS as a whole with one of the preeminent FCS analysts in the entire nation. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back at the Big Sky Conference Football Media Kickoff. I don't know, I keep saying that wrong. I think it's the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day, but it's a really cool event, and we are joined by probably the foremost expert on FCS football in the entire nation, in my humble opinion. It's Mr. Sam Herder. He's the senior FCS analyst at Hero Sports. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, of course, Sam. Appreciate it, man. And, we've had a chance this morning. They released the media and the coaches' polls for the Big Sky Conference. And it's always wild to look at the top 25 and then look at the polls for the conferences. You have like a team that's in the top 25 and picked to finish 6th. They're 7th in the conference. Do you feel like the media and the coaches got it right when you look at the polls behind us?
Yeah, I think so, especially the top 3. I think a lot of people are looking at Montana State, Sac State, as well as being that top 3 in any one order. Honestly, I kind of feel like all 3 of those are going to go 7-1 in conference play and have like a three-way tie at the top of the standings. That just seems like most years there's usually a tie at the top of the Big Sky football standings just because of the schedule. But I think a lot of people look at those 3 teams as the top 3 ones.
Yeah, and clearly, they've historically been some of the top teams. Maybe not Sacramento State for a long time, but they've kind of clawed their way back to the top of the Big Sky Conference. But, when you look at the storylines in the Big Sky Conference, what kind of stands out to you as we head into the 2022 season?
I think it's just capitalizing off of last season's success. Getting 5 teams into the playoffs. I think 5 is probably an inaccurate number again for this year. If the Big Sky gets 6, I'd be a little surprised because that rarely happens. The Valley had it happen. The CAA had it happen a few years ago. But getting 6, that's 25% of the playoff field. So that's tough to do. But I think getting 5 into the playoffs is probably sustainable again. But, what do you do when you're in the playoffs? Can you get even more teams into the quarterfinals? Can you get multiple teams in the semifinals? Can you get another team to Frisco to play for a national title? So I think that's just the storyline is the Big Sky has made improvement year after year. Now, can they continue that improvement and take it to the next level?
I see. When you look at a broad view of the FCS, I mean, there's constantly teams, who make deep runs in the postseason who might move up to the FBS level. You've seen all the volatility in college athletics at the highest levels. Where does the FCS stand right now? Is it in a healthy spot?
I think it is. It kind of depends on what your definition of healthy is. I think in terms of just the FCS, like as a subdivision, I think it's healthy. There's 130 teams for the most part. Kind of like-minded institutions. I know Tom Wischersold, said that, and I think just the FCS in general as a subdivision is healthy because it's not going away. There's always a spot for teams or universities that want to be Division I in all athletics, and they want to have a Division I football team, but they don't want to spend $10 million a year, supporting their football team. So I do think it's healthy in that sense. I do think there is, something to be said about the top heaviness of the FCS. There's such a divide between the top tier and the second tier and even the bottom tier where you have some conferences that don't offer scholarships, some conferences that offer partial scholarships, and then you have North Dakota State, Montana State that operate like their FBS programs. And so there is that divide there where I feel like maybe that is getting a little unhealthy, especially with the FBS move-ups. But at the same time, the FCS, it's always going to be around. There's always going to be a 24-team playoff, maybe 28-team playoff one day. Who knows about that? But I think overall it's in a decent spot. I just think more teams need to get to that top tier.
Gotcha. I follow along your work on Hero Sports. You do a lot of incredible things. The Jersey Countdown, I know that's a pretty popular thing you guys do on Hero Sports. It's also imagined takes a lot of work, but just what's a fall in the life of Sam Herder, FCS sports analyst, look like?
During the fall
Yeah.
season. So it's I usually have about 5 to 6 screens going from 11 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. Usually Big Sky games are on later at night. And so it's trying to pay attention to all the top teams, trying to pay attention to all the top 25 games, and also, other teams too that may not be ranked in the top 25 games that will impact the playoff picture. Even if it's week 1, those games can sometimes impact the playoff picture. So just trying to pay attention to all of it, trying to tweet about all the teams. Sometimes it's funny. There might be the number 25 team is being the number 2 team in the country at halftime, and I haven't tweeted about it yet. All of a sudden, the fan from that number 25 team was like, "Hey, look at our score. Why aren't you tweeting about us?" So it's like, all right, I'm getting there. I'm trying to tweet about all these games going on right now. But it's a lot of fun covering this level, and I'm really thankful to be able to do it.
Sam, I appreciate you joining us. We'll see you, I'm sure, sometime in the fall in either one of these. We'll have the schedule up there a little earlier, Montana State, Montana football game. We'll be right back. We're going to try to talk to some student athletes in the second hour of this live show from the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. I think I said that right for the first time, this thing. Sam, thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome back to Spokane, Washington, the Davenport Grand Hotel for the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. All right, there's a lot of words involved in this, the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. I'm joined by one of my best friends, also one of my closest colleagues, Mr. Kyle Hansen. Works out of KPAX for MontanaSports.com, kind of running that stuff. Kyle, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, good to see you guys as well. Yeah, I got here a little later than everybody else, but it's so nice to be here finally. It's starting to feel like, football season's finally right around the corner, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're on stage talking to some administrators, coaches, players, but in some of these back rooms over here, Kyle Hansen and Ashley Washburn are doing some other kind of work. Tell me about what's going on behind the scenes today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really cool. We're getting a chance to have one-on-ones with every coach and 2 players, the 2 player representatives from each university here, and getting a chance to kind of talk to them one-on-one, get a look at maybe some looks at last season, look at this season's schedules, who's coming back for some of these programs, and we're kind of just getting rolling with that. I just got a chance to speak with representatives from Weber State, which was great. Weber State's obviously a perennial power here in the Big Sky Conference, and it was kind of interesting to get their take on the polls and where they're at, because last year they had a little bit of a disappointing season, and now expectations are pretty high for them. Even coming off of that, people think they're going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, if you look behind us, we have the preseason media polls. Is there anything that stands out to you when you look at these things? You've had a chance to kind of peruse the coaches and media's poll the past few days.
Sure. Well, it's really interesting. Obviously, both the Montana schools being 1 and 2. I know a lot of Montana and Montana State fans always look at that and say, everybody wonders when's going to be the inevitable Montana State national championship game, which who knows what would happen in the Treasure State if that ever happened, you know what I mean? And it just shows kind of where the programs have grown, especially MSU coming off the runner-up finish, Montana continually getting back in the postseason. But I mean, you look at the top half of this league, and any one of these teams could win it. I mean, you have Davis and Eastern and Weber, who all have regular season titles to their names in the past, I believe, 5 or 6 years, and Sac State as well as one of the last 2 years. So any of these teams can win it. I look at, just talking to Weber State, they play the top 7 teams outside of themselves. So if they're going to win the league, they have to prove it. But if you beat everybody, you definitely do prove it. So, I mean, it's a very strong top half of the league for sure. And a lot of those teams, like I said, any of those teams can win it. And obviously, Sac State, 2-time defending champ at number 3, don't sleep on them, because they could definitely do it again.
I see. How about the preseason all-conference team? That was released earlier this morning, too. You've had a chance to look at that. Is there anything that stands out to you?
Well, it is interesting. When I look at Montana State, obviously coming off the runner-up, they have the leading the most with 7. Sac State, who won it all last year, them and the Grizz each have 5. I think that kind of stands out a little bit, just because I think Sac State's maybe kind of getting some of that respect that they've earned, over the last 2 years, especially with them being so good. Troy Taylor, their head coach, 15-1 in Big Sky Conference play, and you can't make that up. He's beaten the Cats, he's beaten the Grizz. I think they've beaten Eastern Washington. So, it's really cool to see Sac State kind of get some of that recognition as well, on top of seeing, Montana State getting all that from their runner-up finish from last season.
All right, Kyle, thanks so much for joining us. So yesterday, Sunday, in the morning, all through the afternoon, about 5 hours straight, we had players walking into one of those ballrooms in this Spokane Grand Davenport Hotel. We did photo shoots, we did video shoots. Let's take a look at some of the cool footage we got from those guys. All right, welcome back to Spokane, Washington for the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. We are joined by one of the newcomers in the Big Sky Conference. Well, not a newcomer this year, but you've been involved in the Big Sky Conference before. It's Jason Eck, head coach of the University of Idaho Vandals. This is the point of the show where I say that I am a Vandal alum, so I appreciate you coming on and joining us.
Vandal alums are everywhere. It's great to see guys doing well professionally like yourself.
Amen. It's they set me up pretty well, and I'm happy to be back here in this capacity, chatting with another Idaho Vandal. And if you could tell us about the program, what is your goal, your vision for this first year with the Idaho Vandals?
We're building. So really the biggest focus this year is focusing on getting better. We got to keep improving and having things in place. And I think it goes both ways. We're going to have adversity. We're probably not going to go 11-0 in the first year. So we got to make sure that I think we have a lot of positive energy going right now. Guys are really working their tail off and getting better. And we got to make sure when we have adversity that we keep that going. We can't hang our heads when we have adversity. And I think it goes the other way as well. When you were in school, they had that great season in 2009, but they weren't able to capitalize that and keep the momentum going. So when we beat somebody we shouldn't, and everybody tells us how good we are, we can't listen to that either. We got to get back to work on Monday and keep fixing things and keep getting better. And so that's the biggest focus is focusing on improvement this year.
Obviously, historically, Idaho's had a lot of success in the Big Sky Conference. If you look back in those days, pre-2009, obviously that was a really great year. I remember that bowl game. That was I'm sure a lot of fun to watch. But what will it take to kind of get back to that level that Idaho is used to being at?
Well, I think we're having a little bit of a change in the recruiting philosophy. And again, I'm the first coach who's been hired since we've been back in the Big Sky. So I think one of the neat things in FCS football is the regional rivalries, and we're really trying to make an impact in the Northwest in recruiting, get more and more guys who are within driving distance to Moscow. And I think the neat thing about that is, now with the regional rivalries, it's fun if kids come to play at Idaho. Not only if they're in driving distance, not only can they come to the games in Moscow, but it's easy for them to come over to Missoula when we play there, or to Eastern Washington or Bozeman. And I think that's a special thing. But we got to keep getting better with our execution. That's my big message to the kids. I think our effort has been great, but effort just gives you a chance. There's all the best teams in FCS, all the best teams in the Big Sky are going to play with great effort. It really comes down to execution when you're playing other good teams.
Yeah, Coach, could you tell me about the two guys you brought here from your roster? What makes them such good ambassadors for the program? Why'd you bring them up here to Spokane?
There are two captains, and it really stood out to me when we voted for captains that we had about 85 players in the roster in the spring, and these guys got like 79 of the 85 votes. So they're universally respected by their teams. Favai is definitely an emotional leader. He's vocal. If you're at one of our practices, you feel him out there. Your Mike linebacker needs to be a great communicator because he's making all the calls, setting the fronts, and he's got a lot of passion on a daily basis. And then when your leadership comes from your O-line, I think you got a chance to be really good. That's always been my specialty as assistant coach, was the offensive line, and Logan Floyd is a great worker, very well respected, and I think the whole team kind of rallies around when they know the O-line is really pushing and working, and that's even in the summer when they're running sprints. A lot harder to run a 100-yard sprint when you're 300 pounds than when you're 185. So I think when our players see that and they see the O-line guys pushing, it goes a long way. And Logan is a very smart player. He's graduated. Really, both of those guys have graduated already and playing as grad students, and really provided great leadership to the squad.
Yeah, we kind of got a look at that yesterday during our photo and video shoots in one of those back rooms. Favai was probably the best dancer I think we saw. He was getting after it. He was coordinating his own stuff, and Logan brought his cowboy boots, I think, and was kind of showing us some of the musical choices that he likes. So, Coach, I appreciate you joining us. Good luck this season, and we'll see you at some of these broadcasts. We had them up there just a bit ago, and good luck this season.
Appreciate
Coach.
your guys' coverage. Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Jason Eck, head coach of the Idaho Vandals. We'll be right back with more from the Big Sky Conference Kickoff Football Media Day. Yeah, Tom Wiley back here in Spokane. We're going to change it up for the second hour of this live show, hit some of the tables featuring student athletes. Right now, I am joined by Northern Arizona football players. We got Anthony Sweeney. What's your position, Anthony? I
play defensive back.
All right. Actually, you know what? We got to get a microphone, don't we? All right. I'm gonna run over here. Paul, follow me real quick. All right. Here's what we're doing. We're keeping this loosey. We're keeping this goosey. We're getting that microphone. Check it out. Watch this. See, this is the fun hour. We get to do cool things like that. All right. Hey, guys. All right. Okay, Anthony Sweeney, Jonas Leader, tell us a little about yourselves if you could.
Yeah, my name is Anthony Sweeney. I play defensive back for Northern Arizona University. Entering my last year. Just super excited to get going. Got a lot of things we're trying to accomplish this year, so very excited to start playing ball again.
My name is Jonas Leader. I play right tackle over at Northern Arizona University from Tucson, Arizona, and I'm also entering my last year, ready to get it going.
I see. Now, tell me about the Northern Arizona Lumberjack program. I know you guys have had some great recruiting classes over the past few years, maybe underachieved slightly. What is 2022 going to look like for the Lumberjacks?
Personally, we're coming for it all, I don't think that there's a team that's put the work that we have in. We're coming for everything, and that means we're going to make a deep playoff run. We're taking home the Big Sky Championship trophy, so we're really excited. It's just been a complete culture change around NAU. We've done some player-led stuff. Our team is player-led now. The coaches have, like Sweeney's been saying all day, coaches gave us the keys, and we're making some big changes over there.
Yeah, just to echo what Jonas said, we're coming for everything this year. It's player-led. I think that's been the biggest thing for us. Coach gave us the keys to lead the team. We have our leadership council, and now they can focus on coaching. You know what I mean? That's what they're here to do, is to coach. So I think that's the biggest thing for us, and just not to be repetitive here, but just like Jonas said, we're excited to get back in the season. We're excited to get going. We have some big goals for our team this year.
All right, now I was looking at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Were you guys there for that on Saturday night?
Yeah.
A couple cross-country runners from Northern Arizona getting inducted into it. Practicing at elevation for runners, I'm sure, is great. What's that like for football players? I mean, Flagstaff's pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's different, especially when we get our pads and everything on. We are at 7,000 feet, so that's something that we practice hard. We run hard. That's an advantage for us when teams come down or come up from being down in the valley or down at sea level. That's a big advantage for us. So we take that serious. We practice hard, and in the long run, that's a big advantage for us.
Just kind of go off what Sweeney said. It's a big advantage. These teams bring the oxygen. You know what I mean? And especially as a big guy, I'm 310 pounds, so when we're running and we go hard in practice, so it does get taxing at times. But, you get used to it after a couple weeks. I've been up there for going on 6 years now, and so I'm there. We're ready. It's going to be great.
Gotcha. All right. I think there was a $47 million athletic center that just opened at Northern Arizona. Did it just open? I mean, is this like a brand new facility, and what's it like? Could you explain it to me, describe it?
So basically, it's a big facility. It's been open to us all summer. It's been awesome. It's a blessing that we get to experience it for our last year. It's a weight room, a nutrition station. All our academic centers are in there now. It's been awesome. The new weight room that we got in there is something special. It allows us to put in a lot more work because we have more tools now, to lift with and stuff like that. So it's been a blessing all around.
We always, we make this joke. You don't have to leave the new facility. Anything you want to do is at the new facility. We got a great nutrition station, a great athletic training program station in there. So, we live in there as athletes, as student athletes. Not just the football team, but, we have an elevation room for our runners and everything in there. So, we always joke, you don't have to leave the new facility for anything.
I imagine that'll help with recruiting as well, right? I mean, you guys are in your last year, but going forward, that's got to set up the Lumberjacks for a lot of success and a lot of attracting some young talent.
Yeah, big-time recruiting piece. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I got some fun questions I'm going to ask you guys as well. So I'm just going to pick one randomly off this. We're going to say, does your current car have a name? Do you guys have a car? What kind of cars do you drive?
I drive a 2013 all-black Kia Optima. Doesn't have a name, though.
If you could name it, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I've never even thought about that. You're putting me on the spot here. I think Jonas has a name for his car.
Yeah?
Though. Yeah.
I actually do not. Unfortunately, I just got a 2015 Cadillac ATS. Do not have a name for her, though. It is a her, though.
It is a her. It is a her. She purrs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. What's your favorite sandwich? Why?
Number 26 from Jersey Mike's, Chicken Bacon Ranch.
Amen.
Yep,
All right. We do it Mike's way with the juices and everything?
Yeah, I was going
All
to
right.
say, if it's not a California club from Jersey Mike's, it's a 99. That Big Kahuna cheesesteak. So that's the
Big
one. If you
Kahuna
haven't had that,
cheesesteak.
it's not on the menu. Just ask for a 99 with extra Chipotle mayo. That's
Is that
the
a
one.
Jersey Mike's?
Yeah, Jersey
okay.
Mike's. Yep.
I'm from Great Falls, Montana. We
Okay.
just got a Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So now I got to write this down.
gotta
I'm
write
gonna
that
get the
one
Big
down.
Kahuna cheesesteak and
Yes,
get
sir.
that if it's a secret menu item.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, Jonas, thanks so much for joining us here. We're going to talk with some more student athletes here in a bit. Let's go to break real quick. We'll be right back
Thank you,
from
guys.
Spokane, Washington, with the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. I'll say it right one of these times. Hey, welcome back to Spokane for the Big Sky Football Media Kickoff Day. We're going to be working our way around some of these tables, talking to student athletes. Right now, I'm at the Northern Colorado Bears table. We got David Hogue, correct? Okay, and Dylan McCaffrey. All right, gotcha. Now, I've actually had a little bit of experience with both of you so far this weekend. On Saturday, I had a chance to mic you up at the kids' clinic. David, could you tell me how fun that was, working with some of the local kids, all 100 of them here?
That was very exciting. It was an opportunity for me to meet a lot of kids, and for that, I'm thankful for, because I know how exciting it is as a little kid to meet a bunch of football players and a bunch of athletic people. So for me, it was amazing for sure.
I see, man. And Dylan, we call it the car wash, actually, is what happened yesterday. We had some video, we had some photos. We were in that room, we were blaring music, and, I personally didn't recognize much of the music for much of the day, and then you got in there and you played something a little different, right?
Yeah, I played the Rolling Stones. They asked me what you want to put on there, and I was just feeling it at the time. I'm a guy, I listen to a lot of different music. I like a little bit of everything, and at the time I was feeling some classic rock. They're one of my favorites, so, I just put them on.
I got you. All right, tell me about the Northern Colorado Bears, if you could. 2022 season coming up. You look at the coaches poll, you look at the media poll. Not picked to finish high, but I know you guys are hungry to kind of put that behind you and prove people wrong. What can we expect from the Northern Colorado Bears this coming fall?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think. I think our big goal right now is, we're coming together as a team. This whole offseason has been so good to us. I think the whole team is buying in. Every individual is really trying to see that this is more than themselves. And we preach, be where your feet are. Take every day as it comes. And I'm looking forward to that in fall camp because, realistically, those preseason polls don't mean much. And we know that, but it's a little fuel to the fire as well. But, our big focus is right now Houston Baptist. That's our first game, and throughout fall camp we'll start to see that. We'll start to introduce a little bit more of Wyoming and Lamar. Those are our first 3 games, and then after that it's Big Sky play, which everyone here knows is tough. That's the best FCS conference, and I think every single game is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a competitive game, and we're going to find ourselves in a lot of dogfights, and I think that'll tell a lot about who we are as people, who we are as a team.
I see. David, can you tell me about the defensive side of the ball? What are the Bears going to look like in that phase of the game?
Phenomenal.
Yeah?
We're always going to look phenomenal as a team, not just as a defense, but as a unit. And the defense has a bunch of athletic people. Vincent King, Urian Hudson, R.J. Potts. Jordan Napke is coming back. So it's like, I am truly excited to have some of these athletes and all of these athletes come together as one and finally show how capable we are. And for that, I'm very excited.
All right, man. How's this weekend been as a whole for you guys?
Amazing.
Yeah.
For me, it's amazing because I got to meet a couple other players, and it made me realize, like, outside of football, these are really good dudes. Even in football, these are really good dudes. And it's been an honor to be here, to get invited here, and to come here. And I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see what they have to offer on the field, off the field, and just for us to succeed as individuals.
All right, go ahead, Dylan, as well.
Yeah,
if you wouldn't mind, just talk to the weekend.
The weekend's been a huge honor for me. I think it's such a cool event they have every single year. It's awesome, like David mentioned, to meet some of the other guys, put some faces to some numbers, and they're all really good dudes, and it's cool just as football as a whole, seeing everyone's really out for the same thing, and I think it's just a cool experience to be here, and talk to some of y'all, meet a lot of new people. It's great for that. I know the Hall of Fame event was fantastic, just hearing a bunch of great athletes speak on how they succeeded, and I've had a blast with it. I've had a really good time.
All right, we're going to dive into some fun questions. I printed out just a list of icebreaker type stuff, so we're going to think a little bit differently than X's and O's football stuff. All right.
I like it.
If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why?
That's a good question. There's a lot of good ones. I think I'm going to go with the original Pink Panther. That guy's just, he's cool. He's slick with it, man. I don't know. I don't think he talk much. I don't love to talk much when I'm meeting new people, but I think you get in some good little adventures with that guy.
All right.
I'm going to go a little bit old school. I would say Huey from Boondocks. Why? Because he was definitely in the community, and he was smart, intelligent-wise up here. So I feel like he would teach me a lot of good things for him. So yeah.
This is Huey from the DuckTales?
No, Boondocks.
Boondocks. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
I've watched Boondocks before. I love that show, man.
Yeah.
All right. David, Dylan, appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for joining us. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for the Northern Colorado Bears. We'll be right back at the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day with some more student athletes talking about all kinds of random things. We get their helmet on there. The UNC Bears. What's the chant? What's the fight song?
Got it.
All right. We'll get there. All right. Appreciate it, guys. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back in Spokane for the Big Sky Conference Football Media Days. I don't know why that's such a tongue twister for me. I can't see it. Big Sky Conference Kickoff Football Media Days. I don't know. Is that right? Yeah.
You're having fun too.
I'm having a little fun. Are you guys having fun this weekend?
Great experience.
Yeah? Tell me about the experience so far. What's been good? I know you guys were down at the clinic on Saturday, Hall of Fame things. What's been the most memorable part for you?
I think just seeing all the alumni from all the different schools, all the Hall of Famers, and just being a part of history. It's a great event. They've been taking great care of us, great food, great place to stay. Obviously getting to know other people in our conference that we're going to be playing against, which is pretty cool. But basically just relaxing, having a good time, and just taking it all in.
Gotcha. You guys want to grab the mic, actually, just pass it back and forth, whoever's talking. Yeah, we're not close enough to that. But now tell me about the Sacramento State football team. I mean, 2019 champions of the Big Sky Conference, 2021 champions of the Big Sky Conference. There were some lean years for the Hornets, but prior to Coach Troy Taylor arriving here. What's been the key to kind of turning it around and being at the top of the conference and creating an offensive juggernaut?
Well, I think that starts, obviously, with Coach Taylor and his staff and our faculty, our AD, and our president. They've really implemented things to help us as student athletes to really enjoy our time, first and foremost, because that, helps it not feel like a job when we show up every day. They did a great job of recruiting and bringing in guys that really, meant a lot, or football means a lot to them. But obviously, we've had immediate success ever since 2019, so the previous staff did a great job bringing in guys, like Marte and a lot of other great players. And Coach Taylor and his staff really just used some old pieces with some new pieces, along with all the support that we have in Sacramento, in order for us to, ultimately have that success. He's a great coach, great scheme. So we all kind of just bought into the process and believed in one another, and then just try to go out there and execute on the field.
Gotcha, Jake. And I know you're a quarterback for the Sacramento State Hornets, and it seems like two quarterback systems have kind of been popularized over the last few years. I know you're involved in one as well. You're kind of more the throwing quarterback, just from looking at the stats, and you got a change of pace guy to come in. What's that like for you guys? Kind of giving each other breathers. How does a two quarterback system work?
It's interesting. It's difficult to get used to at first.
It's definitely difficult to get used to at first, but Asher's a great guy, great athlete, and there's never been any animosity between the two of us. We're both really good leaders. We both really know what we're doing when it comes to the offense, and we really just try to work together and feed off one another, because ultimately we're here to win games. We're not here to put up crazy stats. So it really doesn't matter who's in the game. I have full confidence in him, and he has full confidence in me, and the coaches have full confidence in both of us. We can run anything we want to run with whoever's in there. So, this year we're really working on mixing it up a little bit. Obviously we're both going to get some time in there, but we, ultimately expect to be successful and expect to, put points on the board, because that's all, that's our job. So
a lot of regular season success for you guys. Maybe not as much where you guys want to be in the postseason as far as advancing the FCS playoffs. Tay, could you talk about what's going to take to get over that hump and really make a deep run in the FCS playoffs? I'm sure you guys have national championship aspirations.
Yes, sir. It just starts off with the process that gets us to winning the Big Sky in 2019 and 2021. And then just at that point, it's just, can we be the better team on every Saturday when the playoffs come to all the way up until early January and then come out victorious then. Nothing really changes except now it's an elimination game. But no, there's no added pressure or anything like that. It's just more of a, can we execute? Can we perform? Pretty much.
That's it. Jake, you got anything to add on that? Yeah.
No, not really. Like he said, we take every opponent very seriously, and we stay in the moment and try to work day to day. So, we don't change what we do based on who we play. We're going to practice the same way. We're going to prepare the same way. But like he said, it's just showing up and executing. The last 2 years we've just started really, really slow. So really focusing on, coming out fast and setting the tone and not getting complacent, because now we know what to expect. So, there's really no reason to be anxious or nervous or fear of the unknown. Obviously we're playing great teams in our own conference, so we know what to expect when we get to the playoffs.
Let's see. I think you guys have a nationally televised game against the University of Montana on the schedule at some point. I mean, obviously number one, they're picked in both the media and coaches poll. You guys are number two, I think, and number maybe three and maybe the other poll. That's going to be a huge game. What's that going to be like for you guys competing on a national stage and maybe providing some exposure for the program?
Well, it's great exposure for sure. Obviously, for us as players, our coaching staff and our city. And anytime you can bring a great team in and have that kind of exposure and that spotlight on us, but at home, I think that's a really good advantage for us. And obviously, we played them last year at their place, and we were able to get a big win. But even the year before that, 2019, they came to our place, and we were able to win that game as well. So, that's what we expect. We expect to win these big games. We expect to show up. And Marte said this, before. It doesn't really change who we're playing. It doesn't change what we have to do when we're on the field. It just changes, the camera angles and the shots they get. So it doesn't really matter how many cameras there are or what time we play at or who we play. It's really about what we do and how we execute. And at the end of the day, we expect to win.
All right, appreciate you joining us. Let's get the fun questions now. All right, you got your creative juices flowing here. All right, pick one at random. We're going to say, would you rather live in the ocean or on the moon, and why?
I'm going to say ocean, just because there's no oxygen on the moon. I mean, unless
What if you got a spacesuit?
There's no
oxygen underwater either.
Well, I'm not, but there is oxygen underwater. Well,
okay.
look, let me just get some gills going first, and then it changes.
Yeah.
But I mean, have you ever seen the moon? Like, there's nobody else to talk to. At least you could turn into Aquaman in the water.
That's a good point.
No sharks to eat you.
No sharks on the moon. There's moon Martians. No, that's Mars. So
That's
what would be on the
Mars.
moon? Like some sort of
I don't know, but
moon
I've
creatures.
seen
Yeah.
enough space movies to know that there's something
that's
that's
scary,
gonna go
man.
wrong.
That's scary. All right.
Something that's gonna go wrong.
All right, Jake, for you, would you rather be the funniest or the smartest person in the room?
He's both of them.
He's both of them?
He's gonna be humble. That's why he's having such a hard time
All right.
thinking. So
Speak for him. Yeah.
I'd want to say funniest because I obviously think that, that's a great trait to have. But obviously, knowledge is power. So I want to be smart as well.
All right.
I wouldn't want to be dumb as rocks.
Good, gotcha.
That's
All
for
right.
sure.
yeah, you don't. Is it an extreme?
Yeah, is it like I can only have one and the other
you're
is
funny,
like...
but you're dumb as rocks. Like,
Yeah.
Like a part of the Three Stooges type of intelligence.
Yeah.
I got you.
I'd rather just be smart with no humor.
All right, I got it. Okay.
Some money.
All right, last question I have, just because I want to do something on mascots. You look around. There's bears. There's Vikings. There's Grizzlies. There's Bobcats. A hornet. In what situation, what scenario would a hornet beat these other mascots in a fight?
I think there's power in the pack, in the swarm. So I think in any capacity, if you are just outnumbering the other animal or mascot, I think you have a really good advantage. So I think, we are the swarm. So I don't know how a bear or a Viking would kind of defend themselves against us.
I feel like, have you ever tried to catch a fly before?
That's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. So I think the better question to ask is, how are they going to stop us? You know what I'm saying? Because we're so
it's like a
small.
flood,
it's
basically.
we come at you from everywhere. It's just a wave. It's
Every
just
old
it's
spot.
just a wave of us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there you have it. The Hornets are a swarm. They're going to swarm the rest of the Big Sky Conference. Jake, Marte, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck this season. We'll be right back with more from the Big Sky Football Kickoff. Hey, welcome back to Spokane, Washington. It's the Tom and Tommy Show. We got Tommy Malott, sophomore quarterback for the Montana State Bobcats up here. Tommy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Tommy, tell me about this weekend, man. It's been pretty incredible. I know we had the clinic on Saturday, the Hall of Fame on Saturday night. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys got a chance to catch up with, like, Dave Dickinson, Jan Stenerud. What was it like for you kind of talking to those Big Sky football legends about their careers and their histories?
Absolutely. When we first got here, we sat down, had some breakfast, and sitting right next to us, Jan Stenerud and his wife. So we got an opportunity to talk to him there for a little bit, hear his story, hear, how he actually got the opportunity to play football at Montana State, and then go on to get to that 19 years in the NFL. And, it was something else. That guy, he's a great conversationalist, and it was such a pleasure. And we're, pleasure to meet the guy. It's super special.
I see. Did you learn anything from those guys? What's the big takeaway from your conversations with them?
Yeah, absolutely. We got to talk with Jan Stenerud, Dave Dickinson, and then Dennis Erickson as well. And all three of those guys, they're great, role models for me, as a guy growing up in Montana, and seeing their successes. And so it was great to sit down. They got to talk to us a little bit about, staying where your feet are, controlling what you can control. Those are the things that you get to hear from, everybody, but it means a lot more when, those guys have been through the fire. You've seen it, and they've performed at the highest level despite, those adversities. And, the amount of experience and the knowledge that those guys have, you can't doubt those experiences, and it's super special to be able to hear those things from them.
Yeah, especially as a guy who's kind of going through it himself right now. I mean, last year you went from backup to household name in Montana, magical run through the postseason until an injury in the national championship game. Can you describe what that was like going through last season? Just getting the call, running through the postseason, and then just kind of being Tommy Touchdown.
Yeah, it's been surreal since that last game. Have an opportunity to kind of look back to it, but while I was, we were in the thick of it, we were going through those playoffs. It's great to be surrounded by the guys that we have in that locker room, because everybody's got those expectations that they're willing to give up, or not give up, but they're able to sacrifice for their team. They're ready to sacrifice for their team. They're ready to make plays. That they've done the work, and you can trust each and every single one of them. And it was great, that I was, the individual that had that opportunity at the time. But, it's something that, we expect from everybody on our team, and I think that everybody understands that. But through the thick of it, it was just kind of a whirlwind of emotion. We were just focused on that next game, and there wasn't a whole lot of time to kind of reflect. It was just one after the next, and, then all of a sudden the season was over, and it was an unfortunate ending for us, and I think we're ready to get back after it. And then since then, it's been crazy, how I blew up. It was a 4-game stretch there, and so I'm really excited to come back and prove to everyone that, it wasn't just a 4-game playoff thing, that, that I've grown a lot as a quarterback and I have a lot to prove, and I think that, we've had a good summer to try to, instigate that.
I see. Preseason all-conference selection for quarterback of the year. Do you put any stock to that? Is it pretty flattering, just kind of, knowing that you were voted as such?
Yeah, it's certainly flattering that the people that are voting for that, they see myself as one of those guys in this conference, this great conference, the Big Sky, so competitive, so many guys, and so I take a lot of value in the respect that I have, and it's also I take a lot of value in the pressure that comes with that and those expectations. I'm extremely excited to put to bed maybe some of those ideas that is just a few game thing, and so that's been something on my mind this entire off season. So I'm very grateful for those expectations, but at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's between those white lines, and so that's what I'm focused on. Everyone wants to take care. Those preseason ones are just this really vague crystal ball, but the end of the year ones, those ones are set in stone. So that's what we're all working towards, and I think we have the team to do it, so I'm excited for it.
Gotcha. All right, I'm going to have a fun question real
quick,
Tommy.
There
All
you
right,
go.
Yep, we're getting into it. Okay, I'm just going to pick one at random. If you could If you could be immortal, what age would you choose to? No, I don't like this one. We're going to do a different one here. Okay. We're going to get some good ones here. I promise you. Better ones up front. All right,
There you go.
Thanks for the patience.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 people you want on your team?
The 3 people that I want on my team, like from Montana State, or
Yeah,
what are we
we'll
saying
talk.
here?
We'll draw from the Bobcat roster.
We'll draw from the Bobcat roster. Okay. Well, first and foremost, Coy Steele, Wyoming boy. He knows what he's doing. Again, we have a Montana boy here, right, with Lane Sumner. There's 2. And number 3, let's see. Oh, there's so many, so many guys that know what they're doing and that would know what to do in that situation right there.
Ty would probably be a good one, right over there.
Yeah, heck, I mean,
I'd
I'd take Ty for sure.
Okay.
He's got
a cool head and his shoulders. Yeah,
absolutely.
Seems like
he knows what to do in that.
When the horde's coming through,
when the
breaking
horde's
through the
coming
doors,
through, yeah.
he'd be like, smacking heads, we're pushing around. All right.
There you go. I'll take those 3 then. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Tommy Malott, sophomore quarterback from the Montana State Bobcat football team. We are just winding down the media show here at the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. We'll be right back with some more student athletes.
Except nothing this time.
Nothing today, nothing this weekend. I mean, it was 8 straight games, I think you had an interception last year for the Grizzlies. What is that like? I mean, is that basically just the zone? Is that like Steph Curry levels? I mean, what did you feel like going through that streak?
Yeah, you could say the zone for real. Just hard work, and it was just as crazy as it is to you. It was probably just as crazy to me. It's just I put in the work and then seeing things on film, let it come into life in front of you, and to be able to reap the benefits of it and just go out there in 8 straight games, I'm like, that's unprecedented. And I definitely had some time to reflect on it because while I was in the moment, I wasn't really worried about it. Like, my teammates come up to me, and it would be cool to do, but, like, once I got one, I was like, all right, the next one. It's not like I got one. I'm like, all right, I'm cool. Like, the games I got picks, and I was like, all right, let's try to get 2. Let's try to get 3 type thing. So.
Yeah, just keep it going as long as possible, man. Yeah, do the deep run. Now, I know you had a monster season last year. You had a decision whether to come back to the University of Montana. I know you potentially had some other opportunities, whether it's pro, whether it's a bigger program, but you did come back to Montana. Why did you do that? What is special about the University of Montana program for you?
Just the people. Starting from our coaching staff, being around them, it's felt like family since I've been there, and I feel like I could call Coach Houck when anything goes wrong. And I've been different places, and it hasn't been like that. So it's cool to be like that. I'm here with Mitch Roberts, one of our teammates, one of the better guys in the locker room, and we just all have a good sense of each other, and it's cool being around them. And to be honest, I wasn't interested in no other school, man. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Things are working out the way they're supposed to, and I'm just happy to be a Montana Grizzly.
Yeah, and you're here, at the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day and all the other cool events. I mean, we talked a little bit before we came back live about the Hall of Fame ceremony, the clinic, getting to chat with some of those legends. Dave Dickinson, Hall of Famer, CFL champion, great quarterback, Jan Stenerud, NFL guy as well. What were those conversations like? What do you take from hearing those guys' message?
Yeah, so hopefully wanting to be a professional athlete myself is just kind of understanding and picking their brain of what they went through, stuff that's going to come up and how they handle situations. And it's dope just to always get feedback from them. They've been through it. They know they've also came from Montana or Montana State, so it's a smaller school, so they know what to expect for me going forward in the future. So it was cool. They gave guys around Big Sky, they gave us all like some insight on like what they've been through and their stories, and it's always cool to hear and kind of puts a picture for you of what's all possible with hard work.
Yeah, just kind of keep the main thing, keep moving forward. All right, Justin, we got fun questions. We're going to end with one of those. Let's see here. I'm going to pick out a good one. Okay. No, I don't like that one. If you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
That's a hard question. Because I'm a food guy. Like,
okay.
I eat a lot.
Foodie, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
But it would have to be probably some sort of steak. I feel like because you could do a lot with that. I would say pizza, but to be honest, I eat a lot of pizza, and I get tired of it, so I couldn't be pizza. That's just too basic.
What's your favorite pizza? From where?
I'll keep it basic. So I was born in New York. We're big on cheese and pepperoni. I'm a cheese pizza guy.
What brand?
Out here, I go to Pie Hole in Montana.
Pothole, okay. In Missoula?
That's
Pie Hole, I've been there. Yeah,
that's the best pizza spot in town. So that's where I go. I'm a pizza guy.
All right, so every day for the rest of your life, Pie Hole pizza, pepperoni. We're going to go with that.
Pepperoni, yeah.
All right, that works, man. Justin, I appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Good luck this season. Justin Ford, defensive back for the University of Montana Grizzlies. We are winding down this media show, this live interview session with some of these student athletes. We will wrap things up pretty soon when we get back after the break. Hey, welcome back to the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. Tom Wiley here, joined by another one of my good friends and colleagues, Miss Ashley Washburn from KBZK in Bozeman, Montana, expert on all things Montana State football Bobcats. But while we've been in here talking to coaches and student athletes and administrators, Ashley and Kyle have been in the back room getting to know some of these players and coaches a little bit more. Ashley, tell me about who you've talked to and what are some of the things you've learned so far here on Media Day.
Absolutely. First up, we talked to Northern Arizona. One guy that absolutely sticks out to me is Anthony Sweeney. Coming off an insane injury last year, had to watch from the sidelines. He's coming back for redemption, but he's been so blessed with being off the field for the last year because it's taught him a different level of the game, and it's made him a better leader because of it. So, we're talking a little bit more than just football. We're talking off-the-field stuff. After that, we talked to UC Davis. UC Davis, there's a graphic designer, and we were talking about how that connects to, being a little bit more creative on defense. He's a linebacker. He's like, you can't play stagnant defense. You've got to be creative in different situations. He's like, graphic design has helped me that. I'm like, things you would have never thought about. But we're just talking a little bit more than just football. I mean, I think that's the greatest thing about these athletes is, and especially in the Big Sky, all these kids have such amazing stories, and football is a big part of their life, but, there's reason behind they do what they do.
Absolutely. And we're going to take that footage, those interviews, and we're going to intersperse them throughout our broadcast in the fall of Big Sky Conference football games. We got a lot of Montana State, Montana games, but all the teams are kind of coming through there. I think there's maybe one or two teams that aren't going to get a broadcast for Scripps. So we're going to intersperse some of those interviews so you can get to know some of these players as we get there. And, as you look towards this fall, Ashley, you've seen the media polls, you've seen the coaches' polls, you've seen the all-conference teams. How thrilled are you? What stands out to you? What are you most looking forward to for the fall of 2022?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and I love talking to these coaches because they're even telling me, they're like, these preseason polls mean nothing. And I'm like, that's true. And, you look at how preseason polls were last year, and they were not even how the season ended up finishing out. I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for, and I keep saying this, and I think they're a sleeper to me, is NAU. I really think NAU could go out there and be a great team. They've got pretty much their entire same offense, their entire same defense. And they're bringing back a lot of talent, and I think that says a lot. And their coach is super excited. They've got Anthony Sweeney. I talked about him. Great defensive player. And so it's just, I think that's the fun thing. You see everybody come out here, and it's getting you excited for September 3rd.
Yeah, we talked with the NAU players a little earlier. I think they both said their favorite sandwiches were Jersey Mike's. That's neither here nor there, but yeah, maybe that will make the broadcast.
I agree with Jersey Mike's, but I'm a Jimmy John's gal.
Yeah, I'm also a Jimmy John's gal. We just got Jersey Mike's in Great Falls, Montana.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're going back and forth. All right, Ashley, I know you have a number of other interviews to do left. Chatting with the Montana State Bobcats. We just got off with Tommy Millott as well, and I didn't ask him about it, but he's been doing some DJ stuff. Is that right?
There's a little bit, yeah. I know. I asked him if he has a DJ name, and he said he didn't have one. So we kind of started brainstorming some ideas. Touchdown Tommy obviously was a household name last year, so I'm telling you, run with double T. That could be his little DJ name. But he's doing a little bit. I think he's very humble, so he doesn't like to talk about that he's stepping out of his box a bit. But no, he's got a great story, and I think I'm really excited to talk about, where he is this fall compared to where he was last year. I mean, last year I was talking to Ty Okada. Ty was even saying, he was just trying to find reasons to get on the field, whether it was running back, wide receivers, special teams. Very different situation this fall. He's going in as QB1. And there's got to be a little bit more, pressure, but also a little bit more comfortability.
Yeah, I think having a full fall camp to be the number one guy is certainly going to help. All right, Ashley, thanks for joining us. I know you got more interviews to do. She'll be front and center for some of these Scripps broadcasts of Montana State football games later this fall. We'll be right back to close things out for our interview show here at the Big Sky Football Media Kickoff Day thing. All right, be right back. Well, the room is pretty much cleared out. I was going to shut it down by myself, but I saw Ty Okada, Montana State football player, standing aside, and he's an entertaining guy. We saw him yesterday in the photo media video room, just kind of having a good time, supporting his teammates, being a good dude. So I'm going to ask you one silly question, and that'll do it. Okay, so we're going to do, you have your own late-night talk show. Who would you invite as your first guest?
Oh, gosh, that would have to be Tiger Woods. I'm just getting into golf, right? I'm just getting into golf. He's an interesting guy. He's obviously a legend. Mm-hmm. Love to get some more insight, work on my game. I'd have to kind of just take advantage of his knowledge. And so I would just selfishly bring him on to my talk show just to talk golf. I definitely have a lot of areas that I need to improve upon in my golf game, so that's who it would be.
All right. In 10 words or less, how would you describe the Bobcats' upcoming 2022 season?
Definitely just hungry. Hungry, we have a lot to prove, and we're just extremely excited, hungry, and those would definitely be the 2 words.
That's over 10 words.
Sorry.
Or two words.
Too
that
hungry
works.
and excited.
All right.
Sorry, I apologize. You're right. No, that's good.
Right, man. I appreciate it. Okay, well, that'll do it for us here at the Big Sky Football Kickoff Media Day. We've talked to athletes. We've talked to coaches, administrators. We've had a great time, but this is just a taste of things to come. Scripps Networks across our footprint. We're talking San Luis Obispo, Boise. We're talking Phoenix. We're going to be broadcasting a lot of these Montana and Montana State football games featuring Big Sky Conference teams. So I hope you join us this fall. We have all kinds of things in store for you. But for now, we're going to close things down here. We're basically closing down. It feels like 2 a.m. to me at the Big Sky Conference Football Media Day. Thank you for joining us over the past 2 hours. We'd love to see you back here in the fall. Good night, everyone. Good afternoon, whatever it is.